Hey fellas, this is Rob from Dutch band Lucifericon, doing an interview tonight with the Tampa Morgue.
Open the eye and the void.
What's up? This is Tony, and you're listening to the Tampa Morgue Season 2, Episode number 80. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host from his studio somewhere deep in Tampa Bay, Florida, Mr. Ed Webb. What's up, Mr. Webb?
Mr. Anderson, what is going on, brother?
Nothing. Another day here at the Tampa Morgue, Episode number 80. And you actually have, we didn't announce it on the last episode, but you actually have a pretty busy weekend ahead of you.
Yeah, man. I wish I could have. I got the news literally right after we got done.
Yeah, we talked about it, right? Like, hey, should we say anything or not? But
yeah, because it wasn't confirmed. But yeah, we're doing Monstrosity's doing a little 4-song set at Barf 10, which is something Josh Jones puts on. I think this is 10th one.
I think so.
Obviously,
yeah.
Barf 10. So yeah, it's got a bunch of bands on it. Old school bands. One of his bands that he used to play on called Chaos. And a couple thrash bands, Oblivion, Siren, Midnight Vice. Some friends of ours, Must Not Kill, are playing. Thrash Attack, who've been around forever, like probably one of the better cover bands out there. And then Jason Stallworth, his band is playing. So yeah, it's actually tonight. Which, sorry for the short notice, but it is tonight.
Well, we've been announcing that show. We just didn't know Monstrosity was on it. We've been announcing it for
it was
now.
weird. He had asked us to play originally, and originally we didn't have it. It wasn't feasible to get Mark and Matt, to fly in to do the show.
What's the lineup for tonight, you guys? For Monstrosity, who's playing?
It's me, Matt, Mark, Lee, and Sam Molina. So that's pretty much might be the live lineup for a while. Justin's killing it. He's out on tour doing his thing with Hip Abduction and a couple other bands he does, and he's just playing arenas. He's killing it. I mean, good for Justin, man, because I watched a video this morning, and he absolutely, he just shreds, man. He's so effortless. The stuff he did on the new record was effortless. I mean, some of the best stuff he's a great lead player. He's just a great guitar player all around. He's a good dude. He could sing. So yeah, so it's going to be Sam filling in on guitar. And let me trust me, we ran through the stuff last night after we don't practice. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We don't practice because two guys aren't here. So, but now that Sam is going to be doing stuff, me and Lee, we were talking about maybe practicing once a week, which will help, because not singing and trying to come in and sing, it doesn't work. You know that. I don't have to tell you. You're a vocalist, and I push really hard, so I can blow my voice out really fast if I'm not careful. So yeah, it'll be fun. It's just 4 songs. I think we go on at 8:45 to 9:05. I'm like, that's the best set ever. Like, literally, that's probably the best set. And the reason this all worked out is because Monstrosity did pictures yesterday for the new record.
Your favorite thing, right? You got to do band photos yesterday with Monstrosity.
Band photos, yeah, not my favorite thing. But Tim Hubbard, who's done every band probably in Florida, maybe even some outside of Florida, he is very professional. He's great. I can't say enough good things about the stuff I've saw at the museum. He had all his stuff on tables, and seeing all the promo pics and remembering seeing them when they were actually like Brutality and Eulogy, and like when they were done, the old school promo pictures you used to get, band would sign them. He used to do all that shit, and he does great work, and I can't wait to see what the pictures look like. And
a lot of his photos were in that Scott Burns book too that came out.
Yeah, exactly. So he definitely knows what he's doing, and he made it effortless. I mean, because usually, we've done many band shoots, and it sucks. I hate it. I hate every minute of it.
Yeah, I know you do.
But it's a necessity. It's a necessary evil if you want to have your pictures on your album, or anything. So.
Yeah, so Monstrosity tonight, man. It'll be whoever's going to that's gonna get to see that. And we actually opened up the show with Lucifericon. The song "Inside the Serpent's Eye" came out in 2018, and we're actually going to be joined by Rob tonight from Lucifericon. Also, he was in Destroyer 666, Son's Blood. So looking forward to talk to him. They have a tour coming up, actually, which I'll be at the show on Monday here in Lithuania. They're the Shadows Devouring Light Over Europe tour, which actually started on the 27th in Belgium. And Lucifericon is actually joining on in Riga in a couple of days on the 9th. It's a 12-country tour. They're playing Lithuania, Poland, Prague, Germany, France, Switzerland. So we're going to talk to Rob about the band, his history, some Destroyer 666, what's going on with Lucifericon now, and the upcoming tour, which, like I said, I'll be at the show on Monday. And I also can confirm now, which very cool guest coming on. We got Lewis from Hemorrhage coming on. That'll be next week. And yeah, so we'll, on the Instagram, you'll be able to get some more info on that. But yeah, all you Hemorrhage fans, We'll have Lewis on here, so I'm definitely looking forward to that conversation. We'll get Rob on in a little bit. And Ed, we got, like I said, you got that coming on. I also want to announce that we are going to be giving away tickets for Jeff Tate, which is, let me see here. That's going to be at Ruth Eckerd Hall. And Ed, you'll be at that one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like Queensryche. Always been a fan of Queensryche, and that's pretty much what he plays is a lot of Queensryche. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's April 4th, I believe. Well, like I said, we'll be giving away tickets on the Instagram. We'll be talking about that show. I just found out about it, that we'll be giving away some tickets for that. They're playing with a band called Fire and Water. It's a 3-piece Irish band. Jeff Tate's Operation Mindcrime, April 4th. You can get tickets on our Instagram page. Like I said, we'll be giving away a pair there. And maybe you'll be lucky and get to sit next to Ed at the concert.
That's not lucky. There's nothing lucky about that.
There is some, man, I saw there was I didn't pull too much news because, we have, Hemorrhage coming on next week, and we have Rob from Lucifericon coming on tonight. So we have a lot of stuff going on. And you got Monstrosity stuff. We got behind the scenes, there's always a bunch of shit going on. But I did see a few things that I did want to mention. Bruce Dickinson, I saw, is going to be doing a solo tour, which he'll be playing in Florida at the Revolution on September 4th. It's a summer and fall tour, I guess, solo tour. I also saw, which I mentioned to you, Ed, yesterday, Testament is going to be doing their 35th anniversary tour for Practice What You Preach. And that's going to start April 30th and then wrap up on May 25th. They're the only band on the bill. They're going to be doing a whole, there'll be some acoustic, I heard. They're going to be doing a whole story thing going on. And there's some Florida dates, nothing in Tampa though, but May 17th in Pensacola, Florida, and May 18th in Daytona, Florida. But Practice What You Preach, it's crazy. That's 35 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. The Daytona is the Rockville.
Is that what that is?
The Welcome to Rockville. Yeah, that's probably what that is, because Daytona doesn't do bands. So, they're probably added to the Rockville. I'm assuming that's what that is, because a lot of bands are playing that this year. Obscure bands, usually it's the Slipknot.
Acid Bath's playing that, aren't they?
I think so. I mean, I saw Acid Bath is playing some. Acid Bath is playing some crazy shows all over now. I'm talking big shows, which good for them. But how about the people who've been out here for the last 30 years grinding?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's the thing that gets me, is because you reunite as a band, you get thrown on big shows. I mean,
I would love to see them in a small venue.
Not jealous. I'm just saying. Yeah, no, I think it would be better, say a State Theater size thing, or even seeing Acid Bath at Janice Landing, a setting like that. Because I think the problem I have with festival kind of things is when we went to the one and we, saw Trivium played. Remember when we went down to what was that in Fort Myers?
I don't remember what it was. I was dating one of the girls who was working for one of the bands, so we drove down there, and I think it was fucking hot as shit. That's all I remember for the most part.
Yeah,
we
had
hot there.
Luckily, we had the VIP and got
to hang out on the bus and stuff with her and
Ninja.
Yeah, that was the band she was working with.
12-Foot Ninja, yeah.
Yeah, that was the band she was.
But we hung out with Trivium for a little bit. Remember the guys? We walked by their bus and they were playing Massacre, and we were like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who the fuck's that?" The Back from
That was
Beyond
when you were in
stuff,
Massacre still.
Correct. No,
you were out already then.
Oh yeah.
I think maybe you were still in the band. I think you might have still been in the band.
Maybe it was that long ago. But
Acid Bath sold out. Dude, New Orleans shows sold out in 5 minutes. I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, I actually used to take a trip up to New Orleans.
That's their home turf too. Yeah. So, but I think they're going to sell out everywhere, because if you're an Acid Bath fan, and they were I remember seeing them in the early days, and they were just insane, and people loved them back then.
Me and my ex used to travel we would always, you remember this, Ed, we would always go October, we'd head down to New Orleans, and Dax would sometimes play at I think it was One Eye Jack's. He'd be playing at that bar acoustically. We used to go see him. I didn't think there'd ever be an Acid Bath reunion, but now you can never say never, especially as you get older.
because I think they didn't want to do it, because without Seth, it was,
when their bass player, when Audie died in that car accident, I thought that was the end. But Sam, I know that Sammy wanted to do it still. I'd heard him say in interviews before. So it's a no-brainer. I mean, that's gonna, like you said, I mean, it's kind of like when X Order came back. I went down to New Orleans for the X Order show. You remember that? We went
Yep.
down during Mardi Gras. We went down for that, and
Yep.
it was packed, man. It was a great show. But yeah, I saw that is going on. But Testament, I would love to go see Testament. I mean, I'll practice what you preach. I haven't seen Testament in years. I think the last time I saw them was probably at the Metal Fest in Florida, the Sun and Steel Festival, which was a long time ago. I mean,
Yeah, I'm trying to think the last time, because I remember seeing them on the New Order tour with Violence opening up, and Voivod
nice.
was supposed to open, but something happened with Voivod, so that was the first time I ever saw Atheist, because Atheist got to open. And I remember watching Roger Patterson and thinking, fuck, I'm not. Because I just started playing bass, pretty good. And then I was like, well, that's that. But that was a great show. Because Violence, that was the Eternal Nightmare. That was their, and Violence, they're great.
Yep.
I've been lucky enough to play with them a few times over the years. But Testament, every time I've seen them, I saw them on the Practice What You Preach tour. They played Janus Landing, and I'm pretty sure Dark Angel opened that show. But
it's a hell of a lineup.
Chuck Billy has always remained he's a great front man. And of course, look at the lineup. I mean, Gene's not in the band anymore, but having
you got Alex. I mean, right there is just
Steve DiGiorgio. Because remember Alex left for a while. They had Murphy, and then they had a bunch of Steve Smythe and all these other guys come in, but having Alex and of course Peterson, it's a great lineup, and they crush. So yeah, it should be cool, especially if it's just them, because that's
it's
that's
a
the
night
one
with
thing
Testament,
I do like,
so it's only them.
Because I remember seeing Machine Head, and it was just Machine Head, and they played for almost 3 hours, and I'm like, that sounds excruciating to do that night after night, like 3 hours. Like, I mean, that's just a lot. But if you're reaping the benefits of the whole cash cow, I guess it's worth it, right?
Getting paid. We could actually
I
announce.
mean, look at Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper was by himself, and all those tickets went right to his pocket. So, hey, good for him.
Big respect, always respect for Alice Cooper. And we could actually mention, since we're on the show thing, we can mention, we'll mention shows and releases, and then we'll get Rob on from Lucifericon, because like we said, we got a bunch of stuff we're working on with the, you're playing tonight actually. And we got a bunch of stuff we're working on for next week's shows. We're also going to get Eric Gron on from the Tampa Bay metal scene the next week or two. So we're figure that out with him. But yeah, so I guess I'll start. I don't know what you have, Ed. I'll just read the shows that I have listed. And of course, they're probably not in order like usual. So, and if you have anything, you've already mentioned the festival, the Barf, which you're going to be performing at tonight with Monstrosity. So I'll just, let me see here. This one is going to be at the Brass Mug. And this is Friday, March 28th. Evil Productions presents Offensive from Maryland, Vital Pain, Precipice. And that is, let me see here. I don't see a price put on it, but it's doors at 7. And that'll be on, so that's March 28th. Saturday, March 8th. Like I said, these are out of order. Saturday, March 8th, Aborted, Ingested, which is actually tomorrow, this show, right? Peeling Flesh, Extermination, Dismemberment at the Orpheum, $25, doors at 6. Again, that's Aborted, Ingested, Peeling Flesh, and Extermination, Dismemberment at the Orpheum in Tampa Bay, Florida. And then I saw, let me see here, March 27th, X-Hoarder, Herca. I never say this band's name right. Herculeon, Restless Spirit, Virulence, and Ramtha at the Brass Mug. Doors are at 6. That's Thursday, March 27th. And I have a few more that I know that shows that I want to announce, because we'll announce some more shows next week. March 22nd, Claw from Vero Beach, Voidrium, from Tampa, Hated Creation from Jacksonville, Narcos from Orlando. That's live at the Abra. It's 567 West. I can't even read this, so I'm just gonna say it's live at the Abra. Doors at 8 $12 tickets. That's Saturday, March 22nd. See here, Saturday, April 5th, 2025, Killing Addiction, Vacuous Depths, Ramtha at the Mutiny in Ocala. That's 46 South Magnolia Avenue, Ocala, Florida. $5. It's nice to see a $5 show. It's very rare that you see $5 shows anymore. That used to be the standard, right, for the
Yep.
for the local shows. But $5, good price. Doors at 9, and that again is Killing Addiction, Vacuous Depths, and Ramtha. Sunday, March 23rd. Again, all these shows are out of order that I'm reading. Belphegor, Hate, Vale of Knopf, Arcona. That's at the Orpheum in Tampa. That's 14802 North Nebraska Avenue. 7 p.m., $25 tickets, all ages. But if you're under 18, you need to be accompanied by an adult. And I think besides what you're doing tonight, I don't have any more shows listed. Do you have anything listed for show wise?
Yeah, the only thing I saw, it's not till May, but I think it's May 16th. Nails is playing at the Orpheum.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I actually put that on
Terror,
Instagram last
Spirit
night.
World, and Pest Control. So yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, everything you listed is what I kind of saw too.
I did see that. Yeah, I saw the Nails. I think they just announced that this week. Actually, Pete did from the Conduit. But it's like you said, it's at the Orpheum. I don't know if they're doing. Is that the only Florida show? I wonder.
What, Nails? Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything else announced. Maybe they're playing the Conduit if Pete announces it, but usually he announces it all together if it's his show.
Yeah, so I think that might be the only Florida show. We'll find out. So I got some, I guess, releases. I don't know if you have anything. I'll read these releases, and then we'll get Rob on from Lucifericon. See here, and then we'll end the show. We'll spend a couple minutes after we have Rob on and say goodbye, and then, like I said, next week we have Lewis from Hemorrhage coming on the show, and anybody who listens to us, of course, as we always say, you can go back and listen to. Now it's 80 episodes, and you got guests from Snowy Shaw to King Fowley. I saw King Fowley's killing it with Deceased right now. They were playing some sold out shows with Coroner, I believe, over in the States. We had Jeff Mantis from Venom on for 5 hours and 22 minutes a couple weeks ago. We just had the guys from a Mexico band called Phantom on last week. That was right, Ed.
Yep.
We've had some movie people on it. You can go listen to it. We had David Howard Thornton, who played Art the Clown on the show earlier a couple years ago. All the old episodes are on there. Chris Reifert from Autopsy, Ryan Waste from Bat and Municipal Waste, the guys from Raven. We've had John on. I mean, there's shitloads of episodes. Gene from Angel Corpse. You can go find them all on it. Anywhere that you can find podcasts, Spotify. Some of them are on YouTube. It's all audio. But basically anywhere you can find podcasts. And Ed, I guess I'll read the releases I have, and then we'll get to you with your whatever you have, and then we'll get to Rob.
Boom.
And let me see here. I got first one is Whip Striker from Brazil. It's a speed metal band. City of Extinction on Hell's Headbangers is coming out. Band formed in 2008. It's the band's 5th full length, 9 tracks, including a cover of Destruction's Satan's Vengeance. Band has put out a shitload of 26 splits, 2 demos. City of Extinction comes out on March 7th. Mass Burial from Spain, a death metal band. My Darkness Come, Dealer Records out of Spain. Follow up to the 2021 full length, Soulless Legions. This will be Mass Burial's 5th full length. Mass Burial features members of Graveyard of Souls, Dystopian Omen, and Nasty Surgeons. Let me see here. Corporal Punishment from France, death metal band. Inverted Demise is the name of the record. That comes out, let me see here, March 7th, the band's 1st full length, the follow-up to the 2023 The New Plague. And I got some more, Ed. We've been getting, I'm sure you noticed, we've been getting, thanks again to anybody who's sending us these releases and stuff, because we've been getting a bunch of releases sent to us. And let me see here. The next batch of releases I have to read here is Wombbath from Sweden, death metal band Beyond the Abyss, Pulverized Records out of Singapore. Wombbath's 7th full length, formed in 1990. And the first demo was Brutal Mites, 92. Wombbath features members of Gore Brigade, Crossbow Suicide, Consumption, and Human Harvest. Cult of Extinction, black metal band from Germany. Nightmare Ascension. Winter Demons is the label out of Spain. It's actually a one-man band. See here, it's limited to 66 copies. Cult of Extinction is the third full length. Phantom Druid out of the Netherlands, doom metal band. The Edge of Oblivion, off the record label. Let me see here. Don't have a record label listed. They didn't send me that. Phantom Lords, fourth full length. This is a follow-up to the band's 2023 full length, The Inner Landscapes of Death. And that came out yesterday, actually. Night, that's Nite, San Francisco black heavy metal band. Cult of the Serpent Sun, Seasons of Mist, band's third full length. Night formed in 2018, and that one actually comes out on March 14th. And I only have a couple more here, and then we'll see what Ed has here. 1 second, if I even have a couple more. Oh, I do. Fermenter out of San Diego. It's an instrumental band, actually. Name of the album is Agreement. Independent release, 17 tracks, two-piece instrumental band. The band's fourth full length. They also have 2 EPs and a demo, and that came out on March 4th. Betrayers out of the UK. It's a grindcore band. Falling Through the Hourglass is the title. It's an independent release. Betrayers formed in 2020, 6 tracks on the record. The band's first full length, they did put out an EP in 2023 called Weapons for Killing Cattle. Night Stalker out of Greece, Return from the Point of No Return is the name of the record. Label Heavy Psych Sounds out of Italy. Night Stalker formed in 1989. It's their first demo. They actually put out their first demo in 91. 8 tracks. It's their 7th full length, and that comes out March 14th. And the last one I have is Warbringer out of California, thrash metal band, Wrath and Ruin on Napalm Records. Double CD, first release since 2020, the Weapons of Tomorrow album. This comes out March 14th. And Ed, anything on release-wise do you have?
Yeah, man. The new Destruction came out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Birth of Malice. Great. I listened to it. Schmier is just, I mean, I was talking with Mark and some of the, guys from Monstrosity, and Mark's been a huge dying fetus mark lately. When I say mark, like, what mark means.
Yeah.
Mark is a mark for dying fetus. I mean, I don't know what his obsession was with it, but he's really into him. And he mentioned something the other day. It was like, yeah, the bass player kind of sounds like John Tardy at times. And I was like, stop it. Don't ever do that. Ever. Don Tardy, there's people that have distinct vocals that cannot be copied. They could be kind of copied, like Chuck. Obviously, we see Matt Harvey and the other guy there from DTA doing it. But John Tardy is not one you're not copied. That's a distinct voice. There's a few guys like Jeff Walker from Carcass. There's some guys that have a distinct voice that is very difficult to emulate. Definitely. And Schmier is one of them, because he's got that weird screech that he does when he sings, especially like the old Matt Butcher days, or he's just great. But that record, I was very surprised, because it's pretty friggin' heavy, man. And yeah, I dig it. Ghost put out a song, and apparently everybody's going batshit crazy about it.
Am I the only person who just doesn't get it?
No, you're not.
I just don't get it.
You're not, because I'm sitting here thinking, I just listened to it, and it sounds to me like a King Diamond ripoff.
I remember when I first saw the artwork for the band, many years ago, I was like, oh, this artwork's great. And then it's like a band that you want to like, but I just don't get it. People love it too. I mean, not that it's awful music.
No, the music's good. It's just sometimes the way he sings, there's a couple bands out there that do that. This band Sleep Token's the same thing. I listen to them and I'm like, yeah, it's really good, but I don't understand where these bands are selling out arenas. Like, I don't understand how that's happening, because I can think of about 1,000 bands that are way better.
And
Not
Ghost
saying they
is
suck.
huge, man. Ghost is like,
yeah, man. But Whitechapel put out a record, and those guys are pretty consistent. I mean,
I've never heard them either. I mean, it's crazy how I've never heard. So I mean,
it's weird, because they're in this weird category with like Job for a Cowboy and maybe Suicide Silence, that kind of genre. But they put out some really cool. The music's usually pretty blistering, brutal. Sometimes the vocals, I'm just like, are those real? Like, they just, there's a couple bands that have these vocals that I just like. Slaughter to Prevail, they're Russian, and he does these vocals, and I'm like, dude, come on, man, like your voice can't do that. Like, I just don't believe it. Like, I see him do live videos, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's not real. But he's brutal, and he's an MMA fighter, so I don't want to fight him or anything, but if I have to, I guess. But yeah, so Whitechapel, Hymns and Dissonance is the new record. And this other band that's been on, they're just all over Sirius XM called Spirit Box. Have you heard of them?
Haven't heard them either, no.
Tsunami Sea. Yeah, it's a chick singer with a guy. I saw them open for Korn and Gojira. And again, I maybe because it's a girl singing like brutal vocals, kind of like Ginger. I don't get the, you know what I mean? Because like Arch Enemy's been doing it forever. Like, Angela
Ginger, they played in St. Pete, I remember, at Janice Landing a couple of years ago. Ginger.
Yeah. Sometimes she's good. She can sing, and she's got a really good heavy voice. I just don't, you know what I mean? Just as a music lover, I can think of stuff that it kind of gets put to the wayside that is good. It's great. And it just, people will never hear it, maybe because they're not being pushed properly. I don't know what it is. I don't know how these bands get propelled to the top, especially new bands, because we've talked about it a million times. Bands, you can't come out with a new band right now unless you've got somebody backing
someone who played in 1987 on some album or something like that. It has to be, they blow like the bands like right away. They'll come out and everyone's like drawn to them like magnets, and
yeah. I
They
don't.
have
But
the
hey,
guy who plugged in the bass for this guy, or some shit like that.
I'm not hating. I just want to be upfront. I'm not hating on anything.
Exactly.
Because I've been doing this a long time, and I have several bands that I busted my ass in and didn't go anywhere that should have. And then there's bands I've seen get pushed to the top that wound up just absolutely flailing, and
that's how it goes.
Just going from
it's a rat race.
Bust. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. So
that's all I got.
There you go. And I do have to, we have someone who sends these in every week, which I do appreciate. Again, expected, a bunch of some people passed away this week. You had Aaron Rossi from a band Aaron Rossi was, you remember, drummer for Ministry and Prong. He was only 44 years old. He died of a heart attack this week. Actually, he died. So which has been a trend lately. He actually died in January, but they just announced it, I think, yesterday. David Johansen from the New York Dolls passed away. Brian James from The Damned, the founder, 70 years old. He died. Caesar Portis, guitar player of the black death metal band Serenity and Chaos from the Dominican Republic, passed away. I don't get an age for him. Let me see here. Thomas Futro, he's from Poland, a bass player from, let me see here, Millennium, Anal Stench, and Menace. I'm sorry. And let me see if I have anything else here. So I don't want to fuck up these names, but Sindre Nederland, Norway, from Funeral and In Vain. He passed away at 40 years old. So, we have someone who actually sends us a list of these, so we read them on the show. Unfortunately, there were some of the people that passed away.
Welcome to the funeral pyre.
Yeah, his name is Mike. I don't know if we should give him a nickname or not, but I know it's kind of a, Mortician Mike or whatever he wants to go by, or, but he sends us this. Anybody who sends us information or news or releases and stuff, we appreciate it. As always, you can always contact us at thetampamorgue@gmail.com or send them to our Instagram page. Instagram is pretty much the most active thing we have. We do have a Facebook, but we don't really update it because without paying a bunch of ads, you really are not getting any traffic. But if you listen to us, we appreciate it. And I guess let's get Rob on. What do you think?
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll come back at the end and say goodbye. So we're going to get Rob on, get set up, and we'll actually, let me see here. I'll play a track while we're going into the transition here. I'm going to play The Temple of Lucifericon from the Occult Waters EP. And we'll play that from Lucifericon, and we'll be right back on the Tampa Morgue with Rob after this track.
Lucifericon.
And that was Lucifericon with Inside the Serpent's Eye. That came out from Invictus Productions. And man, Rob, how you doing, dude? First of all, we appreciate you coming and hanging out with us.
No problem at all. It's been very busy in preparation for the upcoming tour, but it was a bit hectic the last couple of days because our guitarist's wife had an accident last Sunday and she broke her leg in a few places.
Oh, shit.
So we almost had to cancel. So our guitarist Anton, he got all his friends and family around to make up a plan so his household can go on, so we can go away.
Damn.
So this was a close call, so to say.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that. And you
Because
and as you mentioned,
it's Sunday, so yeah.
Yeah, you guys are going to be in Riga. We're going to talk about that. You guys have the Shadows Devouring Light Over Europe 2 tour coming up, which actually started, on the 27th in Belgium with Power from Hell, and then you guys join on in Riga?
That's correct, yeah. And our Belgian friends from x-Deströyer are doing the first week, and we are doing the other 2 weeks as a support. Yeah.
Nice, and you guys are playing.
They're already on the way, so yeah.
And you guys are playing, obviously, Lithuania, which I'll see you at that show on the 10th at Lemmy's in Kaunas. You guys are playing, I think, 2 shows in Poland. You guys are in Prague, Germany, France, Switzerland, and then back in Germany?
And then back in Germany, that's correct, yeah.
And for you personally, because I know, you're a family guy, you guys got stuff going on. For you preparing for tour, what does that mean for you? What do you have? Because you guys are gone for I think you're personally the 9th through the 22nd. So what do you have to set up before you leave?
We just keep on rehearsing every week, on our normal days that we usually do. So, we make a set list, and I think like most bands do, and you just hammer it in those weeks before you leave. Nothing special. So I don't think so. I think everybody does that.
So I want to talk a little history with you, man. So actually, what city were you born in the Netherlands?
I'm born in Eindhoven city, but I live in a smaller town, 20 kilometers just close to the Belgian border, a bit south of that. We are almost in Belgium. There is one town between us and the Belgian border.
And do you come from a musical background at all, or was your family into music, or was it just something you found on your own?
Yeah, I basically found it on my own. Our folks had some records, the Everly Brothers and stuff like that. But no, they were not specifically music heads. No, not really. No. So
do you remember the first piece of music that caught your attention?
Sorry?
The first piece of music that actually caught your attention as a kid?
There's a cool story there. Maybe we had a car parts. We had a car shop and like a petrol station, and we sold cars. My folks were busy with that, and there was a guy who traded in a car with my father, and there was an AC/DC cassette on the hood shelf, and then. My dad wasn't interested, so he gave it to me. So this was my first encounter with loud guitars. So I must have been 8 years old or something like that. So and then when you think loud guitars are cool, then you want to find the next thing, of course. Yeah.
What album was that?
For those about to rock, I still remember that it was an orange cassette shell.
What was the first show you actually attended?
Geez, that's a good question. I'm sure that was something locally here, but the one I remember best was the Ball Thrower and Nocturnus tour in early 91 or something like that, I guess.
When did you first start picking up? Was your first instrument a bass, or did you start out a guitar?
No bass. But I picked up an instrument quite late because all my friends were already in bands before me. And I bought a bass when I moved out of the house, and then just to fool around with it for a bit. And then I became friends with the guys from Australia. And Gospel of the Horns was over here for like a small tour, and I had some relatives in Australia. So I always heard stories about Australia, and I was always interested in doing a vacation over there. So when we met those guys, then it was like, okay, now I got to go over there. So I went over to Australia, and after I came back from Australia, Destroyer 666 decided to move to the Netherlands. And after 1 year, they got an offer from Behemoth to do a European tour, and they asked me if I wanted to join on bass, because their bass player only was allowed to stay here for 1 year, and then his visa ran out, so they had no bass player.
And that was Berserker.
Yes, that was Simon. Yes, Simon Berserker.
And your first band was that? So I don't want to, if I pronounce it wrong, let me know. Your first band was Tartaros?
Tartaros. Yeah, there is a Norwegian band, but there is also there was a Dutch band. But it was not my first band. But I had a band called Sun's Blood, which is a bit like Sadistic Intent Immolation mix. And there we recorded a demo, and this was at the same time I was in Destroyer. But it didn't work out so well, and the material was actually quite promising in my opinion, but it didn't work out. Like a drummer, he didn't want to move forward, and we were ready to release the demo, and he wanted to hold it back, and I had my thoughts about this is not going anywhere, so I kind of quit, and then after a few years, the others, ended the band. And then I didn't do anything for a few years until the guitarist and me started talking again. And let's do something else, That became Lucifericon.
With Sun's Blood, was that 2000 that band got formed?
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, yeah. I think that was 2000. And then I think we recorded a demo in December 2004, January 2005. Yeah.
And you mentioned, obviously your first time playing. So you were in a Slayer cover band.
Yeah.
What, 2000?
You did your homework, all right. Did you scout the entire internet?
That was your first time on stage, though?
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah. This was.
Did you guys have a name?
This was just for a fun thing to do for a few times. But with the Slayer cover band, we opened up one show right here in our hometown when Gospel of the Horns did their first tour here. Because I organized was it the first or the second gig they ever did over here? Yeah. So did
you guys have a name, the Slayer cover band?
Face the Slayer.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
The first time you got on stage, did you have any nerves, or was it pretty easy for you?
Jesus, that's so long ago. I don't know. I guess some healthy nerves are always a good thing, I guess. Yeah, maybe it's that.
And you mentioned that obviously Destroyer 666. So around 2002, like you said, they finished recording the EP, and that tour. So I actually knew some of the guys from that tour. I had heard about this tour many years ago because it was with Behemoth and Diabolic, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Was Deicide supposed to be on that tour at first?
We did. There was 6 days of where two tours merged, and that was with Deicide. Indeed, yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you've actually, you could let me know if this is correct or not correct. So you met KK at a party, right? And so he had mentioned to you about playing bass at first with them, and you.
Now I met KK was present when Gospel came over for those 7 shows in Europe or something, and he traveled along from Australia to here, and he stayed here for a couple of months because he wanted to travel around. So I met KK when he was over here with Gospel. So it was not really a party, but he was over there, and we got to meet the whole group at one time. You know, I think it was actually at a festival, the Graspop Festival in Belgium. I think we first met there. This was in 2000. Yeah.
And when he had talked to you about joining the band at first, did you kind of waited to join at first, and you got you didn't know if you wanted to commit to that or not for the tour?
Yeah, it was in the summer of 2001, I think. Yeah, and we were all at my house hanging out, and he asked, this is the situation with Simon. So are you interested in, playing bass? And I thought about it for a week because it was the week before we were all planning to take off to Wacken Open Air in Germany for a festival. And at the festival, I told him, cool, I'll do it, So
you guys had 4 rehearsals before?
Yeah. It was 4 rehearsals, and I think only 1 as a complete band because Ian Shrapnel moved from the Netherlands to London. So yeah, we had 1 rehearsal, and then it was my first time off on the road. Yeah.
And your first show was with Awaiting the Apocalypse 8 in Belgium, with Aborted and Liar with the Destroyer.
Yeah, this was before the tour. Yeah. It was not part of the tour. This was 1 show before the tour happened. Yeah, yeah.
And your first gig with them, with Destroyer 666, what memories do you have of that tour, of that first show?
I do remember that KK announced the song on the stage. We didn't rehearse, so I was totally caught by surprise. So I had to improvise everything on stage.
Australian and Antichrist, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So how did you guys, when you go on the tour, like I said, so Diabolic, that was Brian Malone, Antar, Eric Hirschman, and Bob was doing the vocals for that tour, right?
Yeah.
And Behemoth, how was the chemistry between the bands? Because I know you guys were all sharing a bus together.
Yeah, we were all on a nightliner. Yeah. The chemistry was really good. We had maybe too much fun on that one. I have a disc of photos from that tour. It was total chaos. I have pictures where booze is just flying in the air, and it's caught on camera. The first night, I remember that we were playing in Rotterdam, and Keith fell out of his bunk bed, and there was some interviewer on the bus, and we scared her off in the middle of the night, and I think it was crazy shit going on. The end of the tour, all the lounge room tables were broken, and I don't know. It was interesting.
What did the bass player for Behemoth almost puke? Didn't he puke all over the whole bus or something like that? I had read.
Nurgle from Behemoth, he was a bit more serious than we were, I guess, and he wanted to take his band places, and he ended up doing so. So kudos for him. But he told us that you don't get our bassist drunk. Yeah, you shouldn't tell that to us. That's of course we're gonna do that. So yeah. So I think we had whiskey and vodka and beer every day on the bus. So okay, so he gets drunk and he loses his mind and he pukes in the trash can. But then he picks it up and he started moving around through the entire bus. So we all had to duck under the table not to get puke on our faces. But there was shit flying through the air, and it was across the whole room. No,
How was that for you? That's your first tour, right? Like for you, that's the first time being on the road. How old were you at that time?
I was 26, 27, so I was all fine with it. Good to go.
Nice. Wasn't there? And I read something like you guys were doing a game where you guys would climb up out of the roof of the bus.
Yeah, we were actually going through Switzerland, well, where you have viaducts and stuff. And we were trying to push Behemoth Sound Guy out of the roof of the van because, we were bored. So we had something to do. And yeah, maybe not the smartest idea.
And after that tour, I had also read that it took you a couple of days to actually heal up after that one, and you got dropped off.
Yeah. I used to go to the gym like in one town ahead from here, and one of the guys who teaches lessons there, he's a bus driver. And when the tour bus dropped me off on Eindhoven's main station, then I walked into the bus to get back to my town, and he was driving, so he saw me and he looks at me and like, where the hell have you been? I just said, take me home right now. I just want to see a bed.
And after that tour, you guys also got what the promoter asked you guys to actually pay for a bunch of damages.
I remember that happened when we went to Finland, but did it also happen after that too?
Oh, Finland. That's right. You guys did a mini tour in Finland, right?
Yeah. That was also, sometimes stuff gets out of hands, It's not called Destroyer 666 for nothing,
And you guys played, and you mentioned you guys played Grasshopper July, was it 2003 with Iron Maiden, Alice Cooper. I mean, the lineup, Doro, 6 Feet Under, Ministry, Typo Negative. I saw that. It's crazy. How was that?
Yeah, that was the biggest gig I've ever done.
And you guys were actually the first band, right? On that, it was a Saturday you guys played.
Yeah. We were just saying to each other like, who on this kind of festival is going to watch a couple of underground digheads on the stage, But when we come on, these marquee tents, they hold 10,000 people, and when we go on, it was filled for like 3/4. So it's like 7,000 people there. We were like, oh shit, that's a lot of people, But it was a cool experience. But I gotta say, I still prefer the small stages where everybody is right in front of you. Everybody, the rest of the band is far away. The first kind of people that want to support you are that there is like 50 meters between you and where everybody is. It's not my thing.
Yeah, I always thought actually me and Ed talk about that on the Showtime. When I see those big festival things, I think it's so crazy how they have that big separation between the crowd and the band. Because it's like a pretty decent split too. Off of that.
Yeah. And you lose the chemistry between the band and you lose the chemistry between who's in front of you, So I don't know. It's a cool experience to have that done a couple of times, but I still prefer the atmospheres in the smaller stages, I think that's the best for the kind of music that we do.
And so one thing I also heard was when you first joined Destroyer, like they wanted you to be a permanent member, right? But you knew it was KK's focus and you kind of wanted to do your own thing in a way. Is that correct?
Yeah, Son's Blood was already going at that time. And I guess I'm the kind of guy that when I work on something, then I want to have a lot of input and I want to have my creative thoughts on the matter. And Destroyer is just not my band, and it didn't feel that way also. So I know it's KK's thing, and I was never much of a follower, so I had to create my own thing, and we respect each other, So, and we were also living all over the place, so it was not easy. And with Lucifericon, I can just go on my push bike, and our guitarist and the other one is just a couple of streets away, And the rehearsal space is close, and so that's just a lot easier, and you can get things done easier. And keeping the chemistry between the members is also difficult when one lives in London and one is in Germany, and it was just not my thing at some point.
Yeah. The last show you did with them was in Holland, right? In December of 2003?
Yeah, we did a mini tour with Knox and Morrigan from Germany.
Yeah. And do you remember when you told? I know you have relationships. So we'll talk about that with Lucifericon. You've worked with some of the guys with your band and stuff like that. I know you're close with all those guys still. Do you remember when you actually told KK and them that you were gonna not continue?
I remember that I mentioned that, but I can't remember where or when exactly or how that happened. I'm not sure. But I told him that there were already plans with the tour with Nox. So I told him those were at the end of the year. So I just told them that I'll do all the duties until the end of the year, and then I'm going to call it a day.
And that you mentioned Sun's Blood earlier. So you guys did, like you said, a 4-song demo, right? In December of 2004, I believe it was. And that did it not come out until 2012? Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. It never was released, but for some reason we tried to shop it around, maybe to get it released on a 7-inch, because I'm a vinyl guy. If you maybe can see that in the background. But then I got in touch with Nuclear Winter Records with this. It's the label from the Dead Congregation guy. And he really enjoyed the music, and he said, well, since the band is dead, it's a bit difficult to promote a vinyl release, but I like it, so I can do a cassette for you instead. And that's what we did, yeah.
In 2009, you and Anton.
There is a cassette print of it, so yeah.
Oh, there's a cassette print of it.
Yeah.
I've heard some of it, actually. 2009, you and Anton, you guys were obviously bandmates in Sun's Blood. You guys form Lucifericon. What did you do what were you kind of doing during those years between, just hanging out and like were not interested in being in a band at that time?
Yeah. I just was on a break, and until this just, kind of, we started talking at a party or something, and then we thought like maybe we should have a jam, and then let's see what that brings us, And then we made the plan to go jam in my house, and then let's see if we can create some riffs, and if it's interesting, then we'll do it again, and if it doesn't have any chemistry or nothing at all, then that's that, then we leave it at that. But we pretty soon had some ideas, and then we went ahead.
What was the first song you guys wrote in Lucifericon?
The Temple of Lucifericon.
We played that earlier too. So, and like you said, you guys you didn't want to force it, right? You guys were kind of just got together and see if the chemistry was still there. And how does Rob get involved? Because he was playing drums at the first drummer you guys had.
Right. Yeah. Well, he's an old friend of mine. So he used to play in a Dutch band called Excision. And they released a split 7-inch with their master in the 90s. They did some demos in 1992 and 93, and I think they did one CD in 98, and then they split up. But we are from the same area. We grew up together, and so it was a logical step for me to ask him.
And the name Lucifericon, where does that come from?
I guess it's a combination of the fascination for the character that is Lucifer. And I was thinking about it at the time, what should we call our band? And then I'm a big fan of the Swedish band Grotesque. And there is the first song on that album where he screams, "Yeah, Lucifericon." I think, fuck, there we have it. This has got to be the one. And I knew about Luciferion from Sweden, and they did one album in the 90s, and it was fairly similar. But, I knew this was going to create a bit of a mix-up. But this band is long dead. We have no musical similarities, in my opinion. And, it's something that sounds good, and it's solid, It's not a complicated band name, so it's good, one that sticks, And I put it to the rest of the guys, and they all said, yeah, it sounds great, let's do that.
Who did the logo for you guys?
This was Manuel Tinnemans. Okay. He also creates all the artwork for Pentacle. And he did work for Death Spell Omega and lots of things by now, I think. Yeah.
And he's done other work with you guys too, which we'll talk about. And you mentioned Pentacle. You guys got Alex, about a year afterwards he joined up with y'all?
Yeah. We did create some music before we created the Temple of Lucifericon, but then we thought that this was the first song that was, this is what we represent. So we ditched all the other things that came before. And we've always thought like our music is suitable for, a bit more layered guitar work. So we needed another guitarist, and Alex lives close, and we know those guys. So another obvious choice for us to ask him.
And you mentioned you've always had a fascination, right, with like the occult, magic, and science and stuff like that since a teenager. Which you actually did some of that in Sun's Blood, but Lucifericon was the first time you really got to, because I had read that also with Lucifericon, you didn't go into it being like, we're going to be a death metal band, we're going to be a black metal band. It was kind of like whatever was created. Is that?
Yeah, this is one of the experiences we had with Sun's Blood. Was we were very focused in writing in one certain style because we were very obsessed with it at the time. But it's also very limiting. So when we had good material and it didn't really fall into place, then we had to ditch it. And it makes it, you create a barrier for yourself to move forward. And we didn't want that anymore. So then we started creating ideas with Anton. Like even before we started, we said, when it's good riffs, and we'll use it. It will form into a song, whatever it is. So when a riff is a bit more thrashy or it's doomy or it doesn't really matter what it is, if we can create it in something, we can turn it into our own, and that's what we did.
And you, obviously 2012, you guys have enough material for the 5-song demo, The Occult Waters. We actually played Temple Lucifericon earlier in the show. Where did that title come from, The Occult Waters?
With the waters refers to the cosmic space. So I always try to reference certain things, and how do I put this nicely? Try and put on a different set of glasses to look at things, and the arm and the hand that comes out of this cosmic space represents willpower. It's I think we have a lot of stuff going on in our brains that is connected to lots of black mass in the universe, lots of things we don't know. And I think as a metalhead and a different kind of thinking person than your usual daily life character, we should be open to see what's there. There is always two sides of the coin, so to speak. So I wanted to show this willpower from the unknown, and that's what the cover represents. So yeah. So that's why also the water is upside down. Maybe a strange thought, but it wasn't strange to me.
Well, I know, like, you're not into the gore lyrics, right? You were into more of this kind of thing, like, you read a lot too, right? A lot of your lyrical inspiration comes from reading.
Yeah, 90%. Yeah.
Yes. And you guys, for this first demo, you guys recorded the guitars, drums, bass at Double Noise Studios as a full live band, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Do you prefer doing the full? I know, because in the future we'll talk about, you guys kind of did it a little different in the future releases. But how did you, feeling wise, like vibe wise? Because I feel like with Lucifericon, there's definitely a vibe there. There's definitely this this dark thing going on there, sound wise. Was it easier for you to capture that when you guys do it fully live?
No, not really, not specifically. But we found that out later because we also wanted to have this real feeling with keeping the dynamics in the music and not overproduce anything. So this was our first approach to make it as natural sounding as possible. But then after the recordings, we thought about how it went, and you can also have limitations when you do that because you can easier repair something when you do everything separately. And with our second recording, we did everything separately, and we found out that we didn't really, in our opinion, lose much of our natural energy. And so from then on, we started to do everything separately.
And like I said, with the thing with Lucifericon is you guys kind of have your own sound going on in a lot of ways. What did you personally start getting into more extreme, like, the extreme bands as a kid? Like, what were some of the bands you were into?
The first ones, yeah, I guess the obvious ones, Megadeth, Metallica, Slayer from the 80s, And then, but at the end of the 80s, then there were a few radio shows here, and they started playing some demo tracks from Asphyx and Obituary and stuff like that. when I heard that, it was like, what the hell is this? This is the heaviest shit I've ever heard. And then then all the heavy albums came out. I Scream Bloody Gore and Leprosy and Altars of Madness. And as soon as you got hooked on the extreme shit, then it doesn't let go easily.
Oh. How was the local scene? Like, how was like the record store selection for you guys? Like, growing up as a teenager, what did you guys have in your town where you were from?
Yeah, there was a really good shop in Eindhoven called used to be called Bullet, and this was really the old school record stores that a lot of people know from how it went in the early days. You go there by bus. It takes me an hour with the bus to get to Eindhoven, and then you just go straight there and go to the bins. And then you only have money for like 2 albums, but you pull out 10, and then you listen with the headphones, and then you pay money for 2, and you go back home. And there was like a chalkboard where the expected releases were on. So and then you look at next week the Carcass is coming out, and then that's coming out. So I have to take the bus next month. It was exciting, in those days.
How was the venues too by you growing up?
We had some cool venues in Eindhoven as well, but for us in Tilburg was a really cool venue. It's now famous. It's now called O13, which is now huge. And but in the early days, it was called Noorderlicht, Northern Lights translated. And it was an old cinema, so it had the steps where all the seats were on, but all the seats were removed. So and they made a stage in it. So when you are, everybody could see the stage from where you stand. So that's actually, they kept it when they rebuilt it into a huge place. And this is where all the 90s gigs were. Very cool place.
Nice.
And in another town called Den Bosch, there was a venue called Willem II. And all the tours went through there as well. Yeah, really cool place.
And with going back to the occult waters, so you guys, that's what in the summer of that year when you guys put that out, you guys printed up how many? You guys printed up your own CDs for those?
Yeah, in 2012, it was I think around September. We printed our own copies. I think there were 500, maybe 750, but I think we printed 500 copies. I'm not sure. And we started spreading those around. Yeah. There was some label interest after that quite quickly already. That was nice. Yeah.
And you guys had the artwork was done by Berserker, right? On that for you guys, the album art.
Yeah. Simon did the front cover. Yeah.
And what was the first official Lucifericon show?
This was one here in our hometown. Yeah. This was in 2013. So it was a bit after the mini album, the demo came out. Yeah.
You mentioned the label, so that was Blood Harvest, right? That you guys first hooked up with out of Sweden.
Yeah, there was also some interest from Iron Pegasus from Germany, and he actually wanted to release it as a split CD with Mike Browning's band, not Nocturnus AD, but After Death, I think.
Yeah, After Death, yeah.
But we chose to go with Blood Harvest instead. Yeah, they liked it very much, and they were doing similar releases like our stuff, and it felt right, so we went with that.
You guys, were you guys like real active live at first? Were you guys doing many shows, or was it just during that period?
Handful a year or something like that. Yeah.
You guys played Neurotic Death Fest, right, in Tilburg. Is that when Rob left the band? Right after that.
That was 2000 his last gig. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you guys got Raul, and who played with Asphyx, got dethroned, Mass Deception, and you had already talked to him. Like, how did you have ties with him?
When Pentacle played gigs, we used to go along with them, see other bands, and I used to go to roadie with them, and they were friends with Occult and the guys from that area. And Roel was also a friend of that scene over there. So we met from those days. So I met him since 93, 94 or something. And we always got along well. And we always stayed in touch. And actually, in the same morning we left for that Neurotic Death Fest gig, he actually sent me a message like, I want to start up a new band, and I was thinking of you, you know. So and we already knew that this was going to be our drummer's last gig. So my thoughts were like, you know, if we are going to need a new drummer and he's looking for a band, you know, 1 and 1 is 2, you know. So he was more looking for something more thrashy, and but we kind of made an agreement like, let's do a rehearsal together, and if it clicks, you know, you stay, and if it doesn't click, then that's cool too, you know. And that's what happened.
You guys do shows with Ro?
2 of them, yes. One over here and one in Germany. Yeah.
And he leaves in what 2015. Now we're going to go to the Brimstone Altar EP. Did he write a lot of that material with you guys?
Actually, no, not really. No, he didn't really write anything. No, but we made some plans to go into the recording studio, and just 2 or 3 months before, he calls me and says, I went to the doctors and I'm just having too much on my plate. So he recommends that I put some projects on hold or stop. You know, I've got to take it easier. So he quit playing with Inhume, his band at the time, and he also quit playing with us. And he was doing also a Motorhead cover band called Snaggletooth. That's the only band he kept at the time, and for the rest, he took it easy from then on. Yeah. It was a real pity because we got along really great, and he's a fucking great guy. So,
and you wanted to do a full length, right? Right after that, your idea after the Waters EP was to actually do a full length.
Yeah, but you know, since we lost one drummer and then another one, it was really difficult getting enough material ready to get a full length done. So not to take any more time, and we decided to release another mini LP because otherwise it would just take too long to get another release out.
And you guys now get Tim in the band, which you had actually tried to recruit Tim prior to Raul joining the band?
Yeah, we didn't really know Tim, but we knew he was playing in some bands from our area, so and we knew he was really good, so we did contact him, but he was too busy at the time. So he said, "Thanks for asking, but I don't have the time right now." So when we lost another drummer, then we tried for a second time.
So is it? So at first you asked him to be a session guy. Is that what it was for the Brimstone Altar EP and a few shows, and then it just kind of worked out?
Yeah. He wasn't really sure about what to think of us. Of course, he didn't really know us either. So. And he thought we were, we were pretty extreme into what we were doing, and he never played in the band with such a dark image before, so it was kind of new for him. So I think he was a bit more like, I'm going to take this easy, and then I'm going to see where this goes. But now, after a couple of rehearsals, he really enjoyed it, and he said, if the possibility is there, I can stay on. Then I'm very interested. So, we kind of had the door open for Roel still, but we didn't really know where that was going. So, and then I contacted Roel again, from what do you think? How are you feeling about it all? And then he says, well, if Tim is working out for you, then you should do that. So that's what we did. Yeah.
Nice. And you guys, obviously, August 2015, you guys start recording the Brimstone Altar EP.
Yeah.
And like we said, you guys did all the instruments separately on that. You guys are recording also at Anton's place too, right? You guys are splitting it up.
Yeah. During the years, he created like an entire studio in his garage. So we can save money not booking a studio, Nice. And it's easy. We can just take the bike and go over there and leave our guitar there and come back the next day and do the rest.
And on that EP, I heard the song. So you can tell me if I'm correct or not. That the songwriting was like a natural progression for you guys, and you guys have no rules when you write, right? It's just wherever it takes it.
Yeah, basically.
And you guys put out a 12-inch on Blood Harvest with that one, and that starts your relationship with Invictus. How did you hook up with them?
At the same time, when I met Gospel of the Horns over here, They also went to Ireland, I think, and there was also a connection over there. And so I got to know Dara from Invictus at the same time, and we stayed friends. It was easy, everybody knows each other. So, and I knew he had a label as well. So our contract with Blood Harvest was only for 2 releases, and then after that they sent us a new one, and I was also talking to Invictus. Like, can you do this as well? And maybe it's easier to have everything under one roof. And we were happy with Blood Harvest for what they did with us, but it was easier for me to put everything at a friend's label. So that was the easiest for me.
And you mentioned Tinnemans earlier. He did the artwork for you guys, right, for this one, because he, like you said, he did with Deathspell and Rotting Christ and a bunch of other bands. But so how do you? Because there's a certain thing with you guys' artwork. How do you relay what you want to the artist for your artwork? Do you give them lyrics, or do you give them music or ideas, or how does that work with you?
Usually when I have a lot of the lyrics ready, then I'm starting to see the red line in where most of the stuff is going, and then slowly an idea for a title, and some of the imagery starts happening in my brain, and then I'm starting to collect images and ideas from all over the place and put them in a map, and then I send it all over, and I try to create some form of description, and then I also try to leave something for the imagination of the guy who wants to create it. And then usually they start sketching up, and the sketches go back and forth until we are all happy, and then
You guys released this, and then you guys are doing what? So you guys are doing Unconquered Darkness Fest in Dublin. You guys are doing what else was it? Triple Dose of Darkness in 2017. What other shows are you guys doing? Because you guys are doing a lot of festivals during this time period.
We've done Paradoxicon open air in Germany. We've done Killtown Death Fest, the NRW Death Fest in Germany. Yeah, there's a bunch of those. Yeah, and some stuff in the Netherlands as well. Yeah.
You also on this release, on Brimstone, you guys also work with Chris from Destroyer 666. Obviously, he does the mastering on the record, correct?
Yeah. I found out he had a studio just a couple of years after I left Destroyer, and he was working on some of their stuff, and it's like, oh right, he knows this kind of music, so I was immediately interested from what can you do for us, But we already recorded the music, so it was mainly about the mixing and the mastering. Yeah.
Yes. And he also worked on the next record, the first band's first full length, Alchemy, for 2018. He actually opened the show with Inside the Serpent's Eye tonight. And all the material was written with Tim on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Nice. Everything. Yeah.
2016, 2017, you guys did those songs? Put them together?
Yeah. I think the first riffs were written after creating Brimstone. Yeah.
Okay. And you guys did drums and some of the vocals at Underworld Studios, and then you guys did the bass guitars at Malicious, which is Anton's.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And how long did it take you guys to record that record?
Excuse me, what did you say?
How long did it take you to record that record?
I think we did the drums in one weekend, parts of the vocals also in Germany. I don't know, let's say it's difficult to say because doing the guitars and the bass, it's always spread out, and we do them in evenings after we finish work. So it can take up quite some time because we don't take time off from work to record. And when somebody does not have time in a certain evening, then we move it to the next night, So, but all in all, yeah, several weeks, I think, altogether.
And you guys, so the title, how did you decide on the title for that? Also for that one,
I was reading a lot on the topic of sorcery at the time, and there is a lot about the chemical and alchemical processes. And I was reading something about that. The Egyptian old land was called Kem in the old days, which means the black land, like the black sand. And and I was playing around with the words alchemy, alchemy. So I kind of made it alchemy. I thought it sounded good and it sounded original, and it totally fits with the topics we were doing. So we thought that was really good, and it's still catchy.
And the cover you had, which obviously symbolizes some of that, because you have like the ingredients on there. You have the sulfur, salt, mercury, and all that stuff going on. And you had the artwork done by Adrian Baxter, who did stuff for Paradise Lost. How did you decide on that artist?
Yeah, I saw some of his work on the pages he has, and I was really impressed with it. And it was super detailed, and it was all fitting material. So I contacted him, and he was into the ideas, and I talked to our label about it, and so yeah, that's how that happened. Yeah, yeah.
And you guys also did not your first tour, but the band's first tour, right? It was Across the Northern Void tour with Death Cult from Switzerland.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. You have any memories of that tour?
Yeah. It was really, really good fun. There was a really good click with those guys, and we are still friends today. We still speak to them every now and then. And we had Killtown put that together. Killtown bookings from Denmark. So we were gathering ideas for what kind of bands do we want to tour with, and then we just give him names until he says yes, this is a good match, and then everybody contacts one another, and if they are on board or not. And they thought that was really cool, so they said yes. Yeah, they were really cool guys, cool band. We really enjoyed it. We had some good fun with those guys. Yeah.
You guys did, I think, off that record, you guys did the Graveland Festival in Netherlands, Killtown Death Fest in Copenhagen, NRW Death Fest in Germany, and you guys did those. And then so November 22nd, you guys released the next one, The Warlock of Doth. So going into that record, is like the chemistry there with you guys? Because you guys, I know the lineup is still the same now. Are you starting to feel, because I've read that like with Lucifericon, there's no boss in the band kind of. It's like all your ideas blended into one. It's like is that right? How you guys do that?
Yeah. That's what we do for the last album, and also for the upcoming one. Anton is writing the most of the material, but this is it just happened like this naturally. But everybody chips in, everybody has ideas, and everything will be tried out. We don't throw anyone's ideas away until we tried it, and we keep an open mind for everything. Every single stupid idea can turn into something great. You just got to give it a shot, and then one thing can lead to another. So we try everything basically. Yeah.
And do you guys? So when you do this one, do you feel like there was pressure to is that something you thought about? Was like, how do we top Alchemy? Or is it just kind of like you don't even think about that when you're going into the Warlock?
I really don't. No, personally, I don't really think like that. No. I just want to write good tracks, and I think if you occupy with trying, what feels good, then it's gonna happen naturally.
In that same realm, like you're not really worried about like the technical thing, right? It's more about like the atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you hear our music, then you can definitely hear that, So, but our drummer is pretty skilled, and he does some technical things. And the technical things in our music are in the things that nobody notices. So it's the different time changes. It's not really like playing super technical riff on its own. It's it's not always typical the 4/4/4 maneuver. It's sometimes we stop like halfway, or there is a strange changeover, or his drum patterns change over the same riff. Those are the technical things that we use.
And do you handle all the lyrics in the band?
Yeah.
And how important are the lyrics? Like, I'm a big lyric guy. Personally, how important are the lyrics to you?
For us, as we are a band that want to try and present the total package, I also think that when you present the total package, then you come across stronger as a band than when you don't have an idea of what you want to represent in your lyrics or as a total. So they are, for me, especially, of course, just as important as the music. So when they become the total package on the music, then it's also you can perform them more convincing.
And art-wise, on this one, you guys use Daniel Shiploff, and you were a fan of his art that he did on the Lanterns from Finland's 7-inch. Is that correct?
Yes,
the Lost Paragraphs.
The bass player from Lantern, he brought us over to Finland for a weekend of gigs, and we saw his artwork on the 7-inch that they did, and I really liked it. So I asked him, like, how was it working with this guy? Was it easy? Was he good? Was he a bit mellow? So they were really enthusiastic about him. So I contacted him, and that's how that happened. Yeah. He's done a couple of things for us, and it worked out really well. He's a cool artist.
I know, back to the lyric thing really fast. So is it true it took you a year to write the lyrics for Warlock?
Yeah. The topics I choose are not the easiest ones, so I take up my time to read up about them. And of course, my main language is, of course, not English, so I want to translate it all so that it sounds good and it comes across as a bit professional. As much as I can.
And you took a different approach on this one than the last one at the Alchemy, right? It was.
Yeah, well, it's. I think it's kind of in the same way, but also not. So I wanted to stay a bit on the same route, but look at it from a different angle. So I started reading up more about the Kabbalistic things, and I got really interested in that. I thought it was really surprisingly interesting, and so I took it from that angle for a bit, not for the entire album, but for a couple of tracks. But it's not all the concept. It's not concept albums. I do, but there are on every album there are a couple of songs that deal with the same subject, and some other tracks are about something else. Yeah.
Shrapnel does a solo on the record too.
He does a solo on Glyphotic Trance. Yeah, I'm still in touch with him, so I thought it was a good idea to have a guest on it. And maybe we'll do something like that on the next one too. Who knows? Yeah. But I just asked him, would you be interested? It would be a cool thing to have, And he said, "Sure, man, no problem at all. Send me the music, and I'll try a different couple of variations." And you can use what you think is best.
And even Destroyer 666 related, 2023, you played bass on Parasite. You guys, you did Raped and Satanic Speed Metal on that record, Underdog.
Yeah. In 2017, I organized a mini tour with In Aeternum from Sweden, and the drummer Pera was playing in that band at the same time when he was in Destroyer. And of course, he knows about me, and I know about him. So we became friends on that mini tour, and I talk to him still almost every month. And then he was busy with his solo project, and he wanted to have 2 Destroyer songs on it. And Keith is playing guitar and does the vocals. And he asked me if I wanted to play the bass. I said, sure. I could record at Anton's place because that's a couple of streets away. So yeah. No problem.
What was some of your favorite Destroyer 666 songs when you were playing with them to play live?
Good one. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's a lot of killer tunes.
But, I really enjoy Unchain the Wolves. I know Unchain the Wolves. They don't. I don't think they play that live anymore. But and even at the time, we didn't really play that much. But it's a really atmospheric, bombastic, heavy song. So I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, but there will be a couple of more. Raped is a really cool song to do live. It's very energetic and powerful.
Yeah.
Black City is like the same, it punches you in the face, It's difficult always choosing just one thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. What was your for show-wise with them? Was the festival your highlight of playing with them?
I think one of the favorite ones in my book was the weekend in Finland. It was, first of all, a lot of fun, and we played really strong shows. Yeah.
June 2024, you guys released, I don't want to fuck up the name of this EP. So, Sabotraxis, am I saying this correct?
Yeah.
And this was a special release, right? Because this is kind of like you guys are 15 years, and the artwork is in it has the 15th anniversary in Roman lettering. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah. The studio tracks on that album are leftovers from the Warlock sessions. Because we recorded 11 songs and we only used 8 on the album. And so we had some spare tracks for maybe a split release with another band or something. And we did talk to some other bands to do something with those. But our agenda didn't match with the other bands, Then we are out of the studio and the other bands are just going in the studio. And there was always something just so that it didn't come together, And then when 2024 approached, we were like, we still have these songs, If we don't release them now, then they are going to be shelved forever. Because at some point you want to move on, At some point, the new songs become the old songs, and then you don't want to use them anymore. And then it was, 2024 is going to be, we are around for 15 years, and we don't know yet when there is a new full length coming. So if we use this for a release on our own, then we can celebrate our 15th. And there is a release, in between albums, so that we stay in the picture for a little bit. So that's where the idea came from to do that.
And those live tracks sound great too. Where did you record those at? The sound is great for those.
Thanks. There was like a small festival, an indoor festival with 4, 5, 6 bands in Dordrecht City, which is like a small city just before Rotterdam. And we heard that the PA system there was able to record everything professionally. So we never had any live tracks to use for anything. So we went, we asked them, can we record the whole show? And they said, yeah, no problem at all. So that's what we did. And after the show, we listened to it, and there were a couple of good tracks. So we picked out the ones that sounded best and where we didn't fuck up too much.
Also, even the colors, like you guys, it related to the previous release, right? Your color scheme on this one.
Yeah, the first idea was, to have it in black and white. But, when you go through the record bins and you see everything in black and white, then you don't stand out too much. And we had a really cool tour photo from the tour we did with Death Cult in 2019. And this was taken in Sweden, and which was, it doesn't show our faces. It's just us on the stage with, seeing parts of our bodies and the guitars, and it was a really cool shot. And the natural lighting on that photo was really interesting. It captured a certain atmosphere. So when I talked to the guy who does the artwork, can you do something with the colors, make it match with the photo for a bit? Is that possible? So he tried a couple of things, and we thought it came out really cool.
Definitely.
It stands out. It's different. It has a really spacey 3D effect if you look at it. And that kind of fits with our, the way we see things. So we thought it was really good.
And I think I had read, I could be wrong, but was it when you guys first started, you guys were never worried about like making it big or anything like that? It was actually vinyl. You wanted to release on vinyl. That was one of the first things that mattered to you.
Yeah, definitely for me, because I'm a vinyl guy. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, people can't see this interview behind him. There's like racks of records behind you. Yeah, so that was one of your things. And so on this tour coming up, so you guys, do you have copies of all, like what can people who go to these shows coming up, do you have copies of all the vinyl records and stuff? Because I know you guys have a decent selection of merch.
Yeah, we don't have the first release anymore. That's sold out on CD and LP. But if you Google that around, you can still find copies. Nice. And the same goes for the Brimstone Altar. We have a few CD copies left, but the vinyls are long gone. We always get a certain percentage of copies from the label, but usually when our friends in this area already reserve their copies, then all my house is entirely flooded with everybody's reservations. And then usually all our copies are usually gone within a few weeks.
Nice, man.
But yeah, we still have a couple of 7 inches. We have a few copies on the tour. And we have the Alchemy LP and we have the Warlock LP on vinyl, black vinyl and picture disc. Yeah.
And and for you guys doing this tour, I mean, what's some of your for you? What's the favorite cities that you've visited so far in your life?
Favorite cities?
Favorite countries, favorite cities? Yeah.
To play in or just in general?
That you've played in, but in general, you kind of the mix like that you visited that you're just like, 'cause I know that you don't have much time. Obviously, when you're playing a city, you're not there that long. It's pretty much like a play and go. But places that really that that kind of caught your attention.
For visiting, I really enjoy Prague. I actually went there for a long weekend last year in November. But for the extreme metal scene, I think it is a bit growing now again. But it was pretty boring for a while there. There was not much for extreme metal in Prague for a while. But it's a beautiful city. It's one of my favorites in Europe. I think it's beautiful. Lots of history there.
Nice. Have
And
you guys played Lithuania before? Or should be your
yeah,
first time?
actually, the one on the second day in Lithuania. Yeah, that's in Lithuania. The Lemmy Club. We actually
Yeah,
played
yeah. Well,
there
I'll be at that one.
briefly.
Is this your first time here?
No, we played in the same club in the 2019 tour.
Okay.
So we're going to play in the same place,
Okay.
and that's also on a Monday, and it was exactly the same as the tour before.
No, I mean, and I appreciate you coming on too, man. I know I was like, oh, he's leaving for tour in a couple days. I don't know how, I know there's a lot of shit I was telling, and Ed's still with us. Ed's still with us right now. I was telling Ed, I was like, man, it's because I know there's a lot of shit. You guys, like, everyone in your band works, right? You guys have real like I always like so like the band you guys take it very serious, but it's not a hobby, but you guys have real lives outside of this. You guys have each of you have like your own things going on.
Yeah. We all have full-time jobs, and we only our guitarist Alex, who also plays in Pentacle. He's the only one who does not have kids. So yeah, I always tell people it's a hobby gone out of control for a bit. Yeah.
And are you guys working? So we talked about new material. So are you guys working on a new record, or is it going to be EP or full
No, no,
length?
it's going to be full length. Yeah, we visited the studio to see if we can record the drums there. We did do the drums entirely on our own for the Warlock album, but the space we recorded in was pretty small, and for the resonance of the drums, it's not the best. We need a space with a higher ceiling, and so it's much better for recording drums. So we tried it to do that ourselves, and it was not bad, but we can do it better. So we're going to do the drums somewhere else, and all the other stuff we can do that ourselves.
How much material do you have written for the next record? If you could say, if you can't say, it's cool. But if
Yeah, we created basic structures for 21 tracks.
nice,
So
wow.
we will have some stuff to choose from. And we are now in the process of, see what structures are the best and which ones still need some work. I've slowly started on writing some lyrics. So yeah, the plan is to start on the drums after the summer, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. We don't feel any pressure from nobody, so we do things the way we want to do it. And
That's great. I mean,
yeah,
especially these days, we always talk about it on this show here that like, everything's so different now. Like, back when we would get records, as I mean, 'cause I think me and you are at pretty much exactly the same age. You would get a record, you listen to top, bottom, songs in order. Now, it seems like the way everyone does it now is they download a song, they don't listen, I mean, I always thought even that some of the best songs are the songs that you didn't hear all the time hidden on the record. I mean,
that
do you notice that
world,
too?
yeah, that world has completely changed, man. It's everybody listens, entirely different to this now. Yeah, but you didn't get flooded with albums like in 1 week. When you had one album, you used to listen to that for like a month.
Yeah.
And then maybe you buy one new one the month after. And now you are, stuff is coming from all sides. I don't even pay attention to what's coming out anymore because it's just too much.
And the shelf life of a record, like you said, you would get like Show No Mercy, you'd listen to that for years. Now, when a record comes out, I feel like even like press wise, like they see it out there for like, Ed, we always talk about this, right? Like 2 weeks and then it's on to the next. Like they shove it down your throat. You
Yeah.
see it everywhere and then it's gone and then it's to the next.
How much can you absorb? Like how good or how cool an album is? If you just have it in for like 2 hours and then you don't listen to it anymore because you wanna hear the next 20 albums that are in your list.
Yeah.
How well are you going to know an album?
Yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, it's like it's back to vinyl. I'm a vinyl guy too. I have the same kind of setup you have, and like you would buy the record, you'd open it up. I remember as a kid, even with cassettes, you would like take out the cover, read. I even knew the damn liner notes. Like I knew like mixed by this guy or that guy, or that's how I would learn
Yeah,
about a lot of
yeah, yeah.
bands. It'd be like to our friends in this band. Then I would go look for that band, or you see the T-shirt, right, Ed? You'd be like, yeah, I gotta fucking go see what this band sounds like. I
Of
mean,
course, and you read, you go through the thanks list, and some other familiar names. I got to check those as well. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't. Like, Ed always says we don't envy. What is it, Ed? You don't envy the people today.
No, because even big bands, like we talk, usually the one we bring up is like when the new Megadeth came out. It was like big for 2 weeks here in America,
Then
and
it's
then
gone.
the next thing came out, and no more
Like
Megadeth.
the new ones, the new albums they do now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like Megadeth was big for 2 weeks. That album was being pushed everywhere, and then all of a sudden, whatever the next record was that came out 2 weeks later was what was
Yeah.
being pushed, and no more Megadeth. And then 2 weeks later, whatever they were pushing is gone, and then it's something else for 2 weeks. It's like a 2 week cycle. It's
Yeah, yeah. It
kind of
gets
sucks.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
get like the attention span of like what?
nothing. I mean,
Nothing.
it's zero, and you don't have time to absorb anything, especially on Spotify. We go through, we do at one of our weekly things, we do new releases, and it's like he'll come out with 20 obscure things, and then I'll look on Spotify because that's what I listen to at the gym, and I'm like, 6 new things came out this week.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
could you keep up with that?
Yeah,
Like, you
it's
can't,
crazy.
unless it's something that you really been
Yeah.
looking forward to. Like you said, Carcass, certain bands that even now, when they put something out, you're like, oh shit, I want to go check that out.
Yeah.
But some bands, like we've said it, if you start a band today, you better have somebody pushing you, or you better have some people in the band that are pretty popular,
Yeah.
because
I
nobody's
would
going to know who
I
you
would
are.
advise people against it.
Yeah,
Yes,
pretty much.
exactly.
Pretty
I
much.
mean, unless you
Even
have some guy that played in some band from 20 years ago, your band's
I'm
ain't got
saying,
a
if
luck
you
in
don't
it. You
have,
ain't got no luck.
yeah, if
Even
you're
I
not
can't read the logos anymore.
No,
exactly
dude.
a pile of sticks, that's what I said. It's just like a pile of sticks thrown up in the air, and however it
Yeah,
lands,
yeah.
there's the band
No,
logo.
no new band logos are catchy anymore. It's just I don't know
No.
what the fucking hell you're talking about. I'm just gonna skip it.
Well, do you find it hard? I have to say, I for myself, like I think doing we've been doing the show for like 3 years now, almost, Ed, on and off. We've been doing this, and so I'm kind of not forced to listen to new bands, but like you listen to more because of this. But do you find it hard to grip on to like the newer bands, or do you find newer bands that you actually like? Or are you stuck in the?
No,
I hate to say stuck in the past, but we all kind of get stuck in the past
no,
sometimes.
I find it very difficult because I don't want to be the guy that's stuck in the past because I don't see my own band as well like that. We have one foot in the old school, but I also have one foot in the new school.
Yep.
Right.
But over the years and the way people are into the metal scene right now is just so different than we used to be into it. And I can try to ignore it, but I just feel more and more disassociated with it all than more than ever before. Maybe because I'm getting older, but maybe because everything is just done differently, and everything is about the image, and everything is about I don't know, making a statement or want to be somebody else, or it's nobody is authentic anymore. It's
That's the problem. Is I
I
could put
just
on
don't I
5
just don't get it.
bands on Spotify, and they sound identical to each other. And if they didn't have a different band name, you wouldn't know it was a different band,
No,
because they
no,
all
no,
sound.
no.
Nobody did that. Like, if you put
Yeah.
on, like, we had a store here called Aces Records that was huge, and they had all the eclectic stuff. David Vincent, James Murphy worked there. Like, we're talking late 80s. Like, and you would go in there, and that's where you would find Entombed and Carcass before they were anybody, and all these Dismember and bands that you wouldn't find if this wasn't that type of store, because that's all it was an underground metal store.
Yeah.
And you would look forward to that, because Dismember didn't sound like Carcass, didn't sound like this band, didn't sound like Morbid Angel, didn't sound like Deicide. Now I could go out and I could find a Deicide clone,
Now
20
there would be a
bands that
million
want
of
to.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that nobody has their own identity anymore, because that's what That's what makes you unique. If you had something that was so, like, I heard the new Destruction song yesterday, and I was like, okay, that's Destruction because Schmear, his vocals, and when you hear it, okay, that's them. Now, if I heard that and I looked and I saw it was a different name, I would be pissed off because I would be like, now you stole somebody's identity, and it sucks because I see it a lot.
Yeah, well, we were all, when we started out, we were also kind of weary of that. Maybe that could happen to us. But we are maybe in between the big cities, or a bit out of the big cities. Maybe we are a bit less influenced by all of that. And we started this band with having nothing to prove to nobody. So we don't look at others for how we need to sound or something like that. We wanted to make this music for ourselves first and foremost. We want to do something that we really like, and if somebody else likes it, that's a bonus. And we didn't do it to become big or become famous, or that we wanted to put our stamp on, look who we are or something like that. We don't care about that.
Well, that gives you more freedom, like you said earlier. Like, you guys don't have to really answer to anybody. You kind of do what you want. I mean, it's how you guys do things. And I didn't even ask you, bass player wise, like, what was it like? Vincent, Benton, guys like that. Who were some guys that influenced you? Conrad, from Venom.
I know. I still think Morbid Angel was a big influence. But if you play death metal, then that's kind of hard to not be.
No.
But,
what was your favorite Morbid album? Because I'm Blessed only because of my age. Like when I first really started listening to Morbid, it was the Blessed period, and I love Browning's vocals. I like the Browning stuff with Morbid. Also,
yeah, same here. Yeah, I really love Abominations, but I guess it's difficult to ignore that Altars changed the face of death metal forever.
Yeah. Were you into Deicide at all growing up?
Yeah. I saw them on the Legion tour here.
That's great. The first two.
But they lost me after that, though.
Yeah, the first Deicide record, I mean, to this day, I can remember every fucking lyric from that album if I hear it. If I haven't heard it in like a year, I just hear it. And because to me, it goes back to what we were saying about like bands standing out. Like, I was listening to like, Venom and these other bands, and then I heard Deicide. I never heard someone say shit like this before, as Benton was saying on that first record. I was like, I was like, wow. I was like, how do you say this?
I gotta say, listen, reading his lyrics now, they are kind of childish. But at the time, it was fitting and it was extreme, and it was right in your face, and that's what he did. So
David too, Altars and Blessed are like, the lyrics on those records were like, they weren't outright straight up satanic, whatever. They were like very subliminal, but you knew what they were talking about. But it came across very well, and that's what made those bands heavy. I mean, Florida death metal in general. I mean, Obituary. It's all unique. Like, if you think about the whole Nocturnus, we're talking about Mike Browning, all those bands that came from the same place that didn't sound like each other.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, you would expect everybody to be a clone coming from the same area, and they couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
And that's
I recently read that Scott Burns book.
Oh yeah, I have it right over here. Yeah.
It's pretty good for that, because you can see how they were all pretty different in the early days.
Yeah, when I moved to Tampa, it was.
There is also a really cool book on the Dutch death metal scene. It's called Streams of Ancient Wisdom.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
If you can find a copy of that, it's a really interesting book. And it's funny how the Dutch bands were all different, and it stayed that way. It's really strange, Even a lot of the comments from well-known people from other countries said, like, the Dutch band had something of their own. They all sounded so different. Every single album is totally different from one another. It's if you find a copy of that, it's really good.
I haven't checked that out. What was your favorite scene? Did you like that? Were you a Florida guy, or were you like, what was your favorite?
No, I don't really think like that. There were cool bands from the States. There were cool bands from Germany. There were cool bands from basically everywhere.
Yeah.
Also Brazil, man. I love old bands like Sarcophago and the old Sepultura and all that kind of stuff.
But still, I love. I mean, Christians. I mean, there's just it's. I'm sure there's still, like, we had Witch Trap on from Colombia, another great band. There is some killer bands, just there's so many, it's hard to pick through to find out which ones are like, but so Yeah, man, Rob, I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us tonight, man. I know, like I said, I know you got a lot of shit going on, get ready to go on tour. So you're in Riga on Sunday. So what do you leave? Do you leave Saturday?
We leave Sunday very early in the morning. But we fly from Amsterdam, so that's 1.5 hour drive from where we are, and then the flight is only 2.5 hours, and then we get picked up, and apparently the venue is apparently close to where the airport is, so should be easy peasy.
Yeah, and Riga's like what 2.5 hours from from Kaunas, where we're at in Lithuania, so it's not too bad at your second show. So, man, so anybody who wants obviously to find out anything to do with Lucifericon, where can they go? Like, merchandise wise.
There is a Bandcamp page, so if you just Google that, then you'll find it. There is a Facebook page, and you can email us at lucifericon@gmail.com if you want to get us directly. So that's no problem. You can always contact us for merchandise, interviews, anything you want to know. We are easygoing guys, so should be easy.
Cool, man. Well, again, we appreciate you coming and hanging out with us tonight. I'm going to see you on Monday, actually. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, and we're actually going to, on the way out, we're going to play. So we'll say goodbye to you in a minute, but we're going to play a song on the way out. And you could tell us what it's about Paradoxicon, Lucifericon from the latest EP.
Paradoxicon, yeah. This is a track about, the title is kind of self-explanatory. There is a lot of paradoxes in life, paradoxes in the universe, and the paradoxes we encounter while we are living them. So this is basically what this track is about. And that's why we call it Paradoxicon, Lucifericon, because, it also reflects to us, which is the band and which is the people in it. So, that's why that's the title of that song.
Nice, man. Well, we'll get you back on here when next time you guys put out another record, and we'll say goodbye to you in a minute. Anybody who's in the areas, the Shadows Devouring Light Over Europe 2 tour it already started on the 27th, but you guys will be joining on in Riga on the 9th. It's a 12-country tour. Anybody in Lithuania, Poland, Prague, Germany, France, Switzerland, they'll be able to catch some shows. So, again, man, Rob, we appreciate it for you hanging out with us. Anything else you want to say on the way out?
Yeah, thank you guys for the attention and for the interest. So thanks, Ed. Thanks, Tony.
Appreciate it. Pleasure.
Yeah.
And we'll say goodbye to you in a minute. Everybody else, this is Lucifericon off the latest EP. This is Paradoxicon, Lucifericon. And we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this track. And that was Lucifericon with Paradoxicon, Lucifericon from 2024. And we want to thank Rob from Lucifericon for hanging out with us tonight. I know he's leaving on tour in a few days, so we appreciate him making time for us. Ed, another episode in the books, number 80, man.
It's hard to believe that we're already at 80, man.
Yeah, it's, you know, and then next week we got Hemorrhage coming on, always a bunch of stuff in the works, you know, and like I said, you got, you know, we have other things we're working on too, as always, and we always getting a lot of feedback lately, a lot of, I know the last couple months, man, you know, we've been getting a lot of mail from people and a lot of messages on the Instagram, and again, we totally appreciate it. We love to hear the feedback. You know, I know me and Ed personally feel like we do work hard on this show, and we, you know, it's cool that people appreciate what we're doing, and all the guests that have come on. Like I said, there's a bunch of them. We appreciate them giving us their time. And Ed, you gotta, you know, you're going to be on stage tonight, jamming out with Monstrosity. When's the last time you guys played? It's been a minute.
Texas. When we did that festival in Texas. That was the last time. It's
Oh,
crazy, man.
Yeah, and how long ago was that?
That was, wow, don't even know. September of last year? October, September, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because we've been, you know, unfortunately concentrating on this record.
So when are you guys going to actually announce when it's going to hit the shelves, basically, or kind of an idea?
So now that we got the photos done, Lee's got the artwork being done. Then once it's all done, he'll get with Metal Blade, because that's who's, you know, it's kind of a combination of Metal Blade and Conquest, which is Lee's label. So once they decide that the layout's ready and everybody approves everything and it's all, you know how that stuff takes, man. It takes a while to, you know, but once they get it going, they'll announce a release date. So hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping in the next few weeks we'll have a date of release.
At least with Metal Blade and stuff, you get your product, because as me and you know, in the past, we've dealt with labels, which many people have, who there's a couple releases that we had to actually pick up a copy to see what it looked like. You know, we were dealing with a label out of Spain, actually, that gave us basically fucked us around. And, you know, I mean, so at least with Metal Blade, you're dealing with a label that's actually going to get you your shit. So that's, you know, and you're going to get the proper release, and hopefully we'll see Monstrosity playing some festivals this summer.
I can only hope.
You know, yeah, I mean, but yeah, you know, so that's going on, and I'm actually going to I'm going to go see God Dethroned at the end of this month. I'm going to go see Lucifericon actually on Monday, and there's a couple other shows. Udo's playing tomorrow over in Vilnius, so me and the wife are going to head up to that, I believe.
Cool.
So yeah, man, you know, we got a bunch of shit going on, and that's the way you like to, you know. I always like this time of the year because we actually had our first couple days ago. It was actually nice weather here. It was nice and not freezing, so that was cool. And this whole week, I think it's going to be like, for us, you know, 12, or actually today's 14 Celsius right now as I speak, which for us this time of the year, hey, we appreciate it. Spring started last week. I went over to the festival over here where we burn you saw the videos, Ed, I'm sure. Ustavines, which is like we burn this, they call it the Mora. It's this basically to get rid of winter. You know, it's kind of Wicker Man style, as some people from the outside would say. So, you know, yeah, it's a good time. And what's up, dog? We got the dog making which dog is this? Who's making the appearance today?
That's Peanut.
Peanut.
I'm going to have to go out there and I'm going to have to give him a little bit of discipline.
Well, Peanut, I guess, you know, you got shit going on tonight. You know, and we all got stuff going on. So I guess we should call it an episode. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a good one, though. Rob was great.
Yeah, it was cool, man. You know, it was great to have, you know, Rob on and, you know, pick his brain a little bit, and also some great Destroyer 666 stories. You know, obviously I'm a big fan of that band too, and I know he did touring with them for a while, so it was definitely a cool episode. And like I said, next week we have, I don't know if we're gonna do, so next week we have Hemorrhage, we're gonna be dealing with them on the show. So I don't know if we'll do a solo show before then, or we'll just wait till we get them on. So we'll basically, like we always say, Instagram is the place to keep up to date with the Tampa Morgue, all the updates, all the guests. You can go back. Last week's episode was with Phantom from Mexico, who's a band who you're going to be pretty much already starting to see them on flyers over in Europe and stuff like that. You're going to be hearing about that band, I believe, a lot in the future. So yeah, Ed, let's get the hell out of here.
Let's make like a tree and get the fuck out.
Yeah. Ed, can you actually tell us what songs you guys are playing tonight, or?
Oh no, you don't want me to do that, do you?
You don't fucking remember, do you?
I do remember.
And Ed doesn't even smoke pot, guys. Like there's,
dude, let me tell you something. First of all, let's get something straight here.
Maybe he gets secondhand smoke from the kids' room.
There's so many, like, when you show up and it's like, hey, we're gonna just do these songs for the for the show, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden you get there and it's let's run through some of the new songs, that we don't know. And I'm like, really? Well, that's what we're gonna do?
So you guys are gonna play new songs tonight? Is that...
No. We were just running through them at the practice, and I'm like, listen, man, I have to tell.
Which I will say, what I've heard is awesome, man, from the new stuff. So I will say that.
Hey, what do you mean? You've not heard it?
Oh yeah. What I haven't heard.
You haven't heard anything. You don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea.
Exactly.
If I did, it did sound pretty fucking killer, though.
Lee, he's lying.
I'm sure Lee knows.
Yeah, but we're playing. So we're playing one of the songs. Like literally drives me insane because we used to do it a lot and then we stopped doing it. And I don't think we did it since. God, we were talking about it last night. I don't think we did it since we toured South America. But we're doing Ceremonial Void, Final Firestorm, Final Cremation, Firestorm, Ceremonial Void, and oh my God, you're right. I did forget the last.
Well, get ready for a great performance, everyone, tonight.
Yeah. What is the other one? Oh, Definitive.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, tonight at Barfest 10, if you're there, you'll be say what's up to Mr. Webb, and that's what you'll be hearing tonight. Monstrosity making a special appearance tonight. And for us, I guess that's it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so anybody who listens to us, again, we always appreciate it. We appreciate everything. Feel free to email us at thetampamorgue@gmail.com. Keep up to date with us on Instagram. And Ed, where can they find us at?
Spotify, Apple, anywhere you find podcasts. YouTube, thetampamorgue@gmail.com. And Instagram is probably the best place for any updates because Facebook sucks.
Yep. And again, all our listeners, thanks. Rob from Lucifericon, thanks. Mike the Mortician, thanks. Everybody who sends us stuff, thanks. And we'll see you next week on the Tampa Morgue. Hemorrhage will be on.
See ya.
This is King Fally from Deceased, and you just listened to another episode of the Tampa Morgue. Tune in next week and stay fucking dead.